Ladies and gentlemen, it is your hoster. Once again, it is Team RI. Have you seen the very first video of the day? Probably that is a no. Anyway, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and my own personal Facebook page. The link will be down below. Hit that link and you could DM me and just say, I'd like to be part of the RI show. Let's make history in making. Please, someone who's watching these videos. Okay, now it is time once again to discuss wrestling news, wrestling topics, and a lot of awesome information to discuss for you. And now if you like, sit back, relax, put your feet up, grab some meat, grab some other drink. Now if you don't like that, maybe you want to try like a villain and hear my thoughts, my opinions on the subject. And of course, the article down below, or the link will be down. The link will be down below, or the article will be down below. Either or. Let's get into this. Okay, now Kurt Angle says, he shares who should be the next big thing. I don't know. There's a lot of guys could be the next big thing, but probably will never happen because, I don't know. The Brock Lesnar guy was one in a million. You will never see those kind of guys again. If you so, WWE will just bury them, okay? Listen to this. Kurt Angle held a Q&A session on the latest episode of the Kurt Angle podcast show. I don't know if you ever watched it or listened to it. During it, he said ACC wrestler Gable Steveson, who made a surprise appearance ringside with Stephanie McMahon at the NXT Takeover, Stand Deliver, could be the major star for WWE. Yeah, we heard that before. The question is, this guy, from NXT, will he get the kind of push like Brock Lesnar did back in the day? We'll see. Don't get your hopes up. Just because he's from NXT, he did big things from NXT, does not mean he's going to do big things on the main roster. You know why? Because McMahon controls his character. He controls anybody. Men's, women, okay? So don't get your hopes up, okay? I'm not going to get my hopes up. So does that mean Brock Lesnar is done with the company? Hopefully he is. We don't need him around. Now I know you're going to say, yes we do. We need him around to sell merchandise. We need him around for big key matchups. No, we do not, okay? He had his run. Let him retire. Let him be in the WWE Hall of Fame. He had a great run. It really pissed me off when he came back in 2011. That was fine. He had a great moment with John flipping Cena. That's fine. He beat the crap out of John Cena. That moment when he returned. And then I think the very first pay-per-view he came back, I think was Extreme Rules. I think John Cena, Brock Lesnar tore down the house. And guess what? Super Cena won. I think Lesnar should have won that match. You agree? Disagree? Time flew by. Brock Lesnar once again was the champion. In the time that he beat Cena, he did like 9 suplexes. That match was flipping boring. It was domination. I don't know, it was playing like that. I know it was something like that. But I thought John Cena would have some flipping offense, but he had nothing. I hate that match. It sucked. And then when he held that belt that long, we have not seen him since Mania that year. And he gets these special contracts, That's not fair. Just because he worked for WWE since 2002. That's not, I don't mind Lesnar there, but don't give him the flipping belt. You had, at the time, you got Cena, you got Roman, you got Seth Rollins, you got Dean Ambrose. But Dean Ambrose, for WWE, he was not a major player. He was not no top of the food chain. He really wasn't, because they don't treat him like royalty like the other guys I just mentioned. He's doing other things with other wrestling promotions. Hopefully Dean Ambrose will never ever come back to WWE, because if so, he's going to be in the same predicament. He will be complaining. I was never a fan of Dean Ambrose, whatever, because they butchered his character, you know? He was great with the Shield, but after the Shield, they turned him heel, but it was a little too late. He was unhappy. So they push Seth Rollins to the moon, they push Roman Reigns to the moon, but they will never push Dean Ambrose to the moon. They make him like a joke, you know? Now he's doing bigger things in another wrestling company. Maybe one day he'll come back, maybe not. But I think the biggest guy from the Shield, in my opinion, is Seth. A lot of people says Roman, a lot of people says Dean. I think it's Seth, hands down. And I think Dean Ambrose was the weakest link in that group. You know why? Because WWE made him that way when he went on his own, you know? I mean, you know, he did this thing with the flower, Mitch, the flower pot. Come on now, that's PG crap, you know? That would never work in the Attitude Era. I'm just randomly. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with Kurt Angle about the guy from NXT would be the next big superstar? Yeah, he could be, but will WWE push him to the max at the main roster? That's the question. It seems like when they go to the main roster, they get mixed in a shovel. That is the curse. They need a snap at. They need a McMahon needs to step down because he's hurting the product. No one does not give a flying crap about Raw. No one. The only time people give a darn about Raw, the next night on the next night after WrestleMania. I don't give a darn if it's WrestleMania season. I watch it 365 days a year because I'm very passionate with the flipping company. Is it ever gonna get better? Probably never, until McMahon A, steps down, or B, passes away. There's only two options. That's it. In the meantime, he's ruined his company on the main roster. If he does that for NXT, goodbye. You know? We have a lot of great talent in every brand, but for some reason they don't want to push new stars. They want to push the same guys over and over. You know, I don't understand that, but this is how I feel. If you like my opinion, that's fine. If not, then don't say a word about what I'm saying. Have a good one and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Stay safe.